You're not lazy. You're on autopilot. If you found yourself wondering where the last 5 or maybe even 10 years have gone, this video's for you, because chances are you're not lazy, you're not lacking discipline, you're not broken. You've simply slipped into autopilot, and somewhere along the way you've stopped choosing the life you get to live. And the strange thing is, most men don't even realize it's happened. They think they're just tired, busy, stressed, maybe getting older. But what if the thing that's frustrating you right now isn't a lack of motivation? What if you've just gradually drifted away from the man you said you'd become? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how this happens, why it's far more common than people realize, and how to spot the signs before another year quietly slips through your fingers. Now, first, you need to understand something. Nobody wakes up one morning and decides they're going to coast. Nobody sits down and says, right, from today, I'm going to stop growing. I'm going to stop challenging myself and just drift. Instead, I've seen and felt how it happens. Slowly, life gets busy, responsibilities pile up, work needs attention, family needs you, bills need paying, and without noticing, you move from creating your own life to simply reacting to it. The problem is, because it happens gradually, it starts to feel normal. I've seen this pattern in conversations with people who felt frustrated, stuck, or disconnected from where their life was heading. What was interesting wasn't that they lacked ability. Most were really capable. Many had achieved plenty. The issue was their clarity. Once they were able to honestly see what was going on, things started to change. They felt lighter, more focused, more in control. One client described it as having a rucksack taken off their back so they could finally see what they were actually dealing with, what the actual problem was. Another said it reignited a sense of drive that had been missing for years. And that's exactly what I want to help you do in this video. This is part 1 of a 3-part series, and in this video we're going to look at why so many men end up on autopilot even without realizing it. In part 2, I'll show you how to start taking back control and creating momentum again. And part 3, I'll walk you through a simple framework that's helped myself and helped other clients to get clear on what's actually missing and what comes next. So let's start with the first thing you need to understand. You haven't made a real decision in years. Not a big one, anyway. You've been busy, working, sorting things out, dealing with whatever turns up next. And before you know it, another month has gone. Then another year has disappeared. The strange thing is, most people don't notice it happening because it doesn't happen all at once. Think about where you were 5 years ago. You probably had ideas, things you wanted to do, places you wanted to go, challenges you wanted to take on. Now compare that to the last 12 months of your life. How much of your time has been spent moving towards something you actually chose? And how much of it has been reacting to work, family, other people's priorities? The danger isn't that your life is getting busy. The danger is that eventually busy becomes your identity. You stop asking what you want. You start focusing entirely on what needs doing next instead. What fire needs putting out first. Then one day you look around and realize you're living the same week over and over. Groundhog Day. That's why autopilot is so difficult to spot. Nobody chooses it. It arrives when you keep making small compromises. You stop setting goals. You stop challenging yourself. You stop trying to do things that make you uncomfortable. You stop investing time in your own growth. None of these things seem like they matter at the time, but stack enough of them up and suddenly you're no longer steering. You're just rolling along wherever the road takes you. You're a passenger. And that's where most men get stuck. Not because they're lazy, because they're slowly handing over the steering wheel to someone else. And that leads to the next problem, because the real cost of autopilot isn't what you've lost, it's who you're becoming, the man you're becoming while you're on it. Most men look at their lives from the outside: career, income, house, family, responsibilities, and on paper things look okay, maybe even good, but every now and then there's a feeling that creeps in, that voice in the head, a question you really don't want to answer. Is this it? Not because you failed, because there's more in you. You know there's more in you. The problem is that drift rarely shows up as a disaster. If it did, we'd do something about it. Instead, it shows up in much quieter, more subtle ways. Your standards slip a bit. You stop pushing yourself. You stop looking forward to things. You stop seeking challenge. And you stop feeling excited about what's next. You find yourself going through the motions. The days are full for sure, but they're not particularly meaningful. And because nothing is obviously wrong, you tell yourself everything is fine. Until one day you realize you're not becoming more of who you want to be. You're becoming less curious, less adventurous, less engaged, less present, less connected. That's why I think most people ask the wrong question. The question isn't, what have I achieved? The better question, I think, is, who am I becoming? Because life isn't just a collection of accomplishments, of targets and goals. It's a process of becoming the version of yourself that you want to be. And if you're not paying attention, drift quietly takes over, coasting. Not overnight, not dramatically, just little by little, until the gap between you and the man you're meant to be gets bigger and bigger. Which brings us to the biggest misunderstanding of all. Most men think the answer is more motivation. I don't think it is. I think whenever someone feels stuck, the first thing they usually look for is motivation. A new book, a new podcast, a new morning routine, something that will finally get them moving. The trouble with motivation is that it doesn't solve the real problem, because motivation fades, it comes and goes. It always does. Think back to a time when you felt excited about life. You're probably moving towards something, building something, learning something, working towards a challenge that really mattered to you. You weren't relying on motivation every day. You had direction. You knew what you were doing. That's the difference. Most men don't need another productivity hack. They don't need another life hack. What they're missing is connection to what matters, connection to what excites them, connection to the person they actually want to become. Somewhere along the way, life got noisy, responsibilities took over, the signal got buried. So if you've been telling yourself you're lazy, unmotivated, or lacking discipline, I'm here to challenge that. Maybe that's not the problem. Maybe you've simply lost sight of what's important to you. Maybe you've spent so long reacting that you've forgotten what you're actually moving towards. And until you reconnect with that, no amount of motivation is going to fix it, because motivation isn't the fuel. Direction is your direction. So let me leave you with a question. What if the problem isn't that you're lazy? What if you've simply been asleep at the wheel? And if that's true, then the good news is this: you can wake up. In the next video, we're going to look at how to do that, how to wake up. We'll talk about the practical steps you can take to stop drifting, coasting, and instead switch to starting to create momentum again and begin taking back control of where your life is heading. Because awareness is important, but awareness on its own doesn't change anything. Part 2 is where we start rebuilding. I'll see you there.